My name is Mike Wagner, and I'm an assistant professor of television and film here at DeSales University. Okay, so first of all, what a wipe is, all right, most of you probably know this, but a wipe is when an incoming shot graphically wipes away the last few frames of an outgoing shot. And you can do that in many, many different ways, right? So what I need to say is that I don't hate wipes. I actually like them in certain circumstances, but now with digital editing technology and the different tools that we have in our palette for transitions, there's a tendency, especially in video and sometimes in television, to go a little too far with wipes. And so what I don't like is when wipes are overused, and I really don't like when the type of wipe is something that draws a lot of attention to itself. A clock wipe is a great example of that to show the passage of time. It's kind of, it's pretty much a given when using a transition that you're passing time. So the clock wipe seems a little redundant, a little silly, and then it can get really crazy. Star wipes and sunburst wipes and checkerboard wipes and all the different things. Just because they're there in the palette of the editor doesn't mean you have to necessarily use every little tool that you have. So I prefer making things more traditional and straightforward. Well, that's a good question, because there are really a couple of different ways that you can do it and still, communicate the right idea, right, in a film. So a lot of times they're used, and I think most effectively they're used to transition from one sequence to the next sequence, or perhaps one segment or chapter of the film into the next segment or chapter or large narrative block. Because we can see them. They're a type of transition we can see, so they communicate something about what happens in between those two moments. Usually it's the passage of time, perhaps it's a major change in location, or usually it's both, right? So in that sense, that's the right time to use a wipe. Now, the right type of wipe, again, if it's a simple kind of edge wipe, left to right, top down, even diagonal, I think those all can work. But you want to keep in mind, this gets a little technical, but when the editor is using a wipe, what direction is the action moving in each shot, and how does the direction of the wipe affect that idea? So they're particularly effective in shots that are either showing a lot of action and movement, or a moving camera shot, wiping from one moving camera shot to another. So mostly I would say the best time to use them is moving from one major sequence to the next major sequence. But there are times where you can actually get them into from one scene to the next, or even from one shot to the next within a scene. Mostly it's about showing restraint, not going over the top with the pattern of the wipe, just keeping it kind of straightforward. My least favorites, clock wipe. Clock wipe it might not be my least favorite, but it's the one that I don't like that I see most often used, right? And again, it's redundant. It's like, we know, like, a wipe is showing us the passage of time for the most part, so we get it. So the clock wipe, it's kind of like an old school television, or a cheap video technique. So that's the one that's probably the most overused that I see. But there's no shortage of them. There's checkerboards and like crosshatch wipes and sunburst wipes and star wipes and all kinds of crazy stuff. And if you're doing a silly video and you want to just have fun, or if it's a kid's video, go for it. Because it's all bets are off. You can pretty much do anything visually and have fun with it. But for a narrative film, you really have to kind of be careful, because anytime you use a transition like that, you're drawing attention to it. And if that attention doesn't fit with the rest of the film, you've got a problem. And so if you have a star wipe in the middle of a dramatic film, that's obviously going to be a big mistake. I don't know any editor that would do something like that, but you never know.